In the last episode, we talked about the master planning and the external factors affecting en bloc sales. So in this current episode, we're going to talk about the legalities and the processes for en bloc sales. So that if you purchase an en bloc properties, you know what to do through the en bloc process. So first thing first, let's talk about the en bloc process. So if any property that you have purchased has a potential for en bloc sales, then you want to get together with a group of owners so that you can actually proceed for the en bloc sales. So what's the process for the en bloc sales? First thing first, you need to know that the property has en bloc potential, right? Before you even start the process. And if you have identified whether this project has en bloc potential, then subsequently you want to come together with a group of owners to form a committee. And you want to get authority by the estate, by the whole project, so that you can be appointed officially as sales committee to handle the sale, the collective sales itself. So the minimum requirement by the en bloc sales guide under the Land Title Strata Act is 3 to 14 sales committee members to represent a development. And you want to go through a process, a proper process legally through the EOGM or AGM to formalize your appointment so that it gives you the rights to represent the owners in the selection of the lawyers and the consultant for this entire en bloc sales. As sales committee members, you can identify and select property consultants and lawyers to represent you for the en bloc sales. However, it is important to go through a proper procedure in order to select the right party. So typically, most sales committee will actually go through a process of selection, at least among 2 to 3 lawyers or 2 to 3 sales consultants, property consultants, before you finalize with one party that you want to work with. And you want to work with this property consultant and the lawyers to come up with the collective sales agreement so that you can go to the owners to get 80% consent minimum, if not 90% if the property is less than 10 years old, and then proceed with the whole process of the en bloc sales, signing of the agreement, the collective sales agreement. Once you get 80% on the CSA, in short, collective sales agreement, you can then proceed with the sale. Okay? This entire process, let me break it down again in more depth. From the time you have appointed the property consultant as well as the lawyer to formalize the collective sales agreement with a reserve price and the method of apportionment, then you have 12 months to collect your 80% or 90% to the collective sales agreement. So once you get 80% agreement, then you can proceed with a sale. From day one, you have up to 12 months to get 80%. All right? However, if you, in the middle, say assuming 6 months, you already get the 80%, you can already move to the next stage, which is the sale process. And you have another 12 months. So you have another 12 months to find a buyer and then enter into a sales agreement to sell the property. By the last day of the second 12 months, you need to apply to the Strata Titles Board if you do not get 100% consensus. So these first 12 months and second 12 months can overlap. In the event that you can't get in the first 12 months, the 80%, by the last day, you need to get 80%. And then the next 12 months follows through. So this actually governs a maximum of 24 months for the whole entire collective sales agreement back to back. And this is an important understanding because if you fail to get 80% within the first 12 months, the agreement automatically lapses, which also means that you will actually fall into a bar period to do the en bloc sales. So at any point in time, if this agreement fails to follow through, there is a bar period for en bloc sales. So this is a broad timeline for any en bloc sales to happen for any project. So some of you will wonder, hey, I need to wait so long for the entire en bloc sales process, the first preparation period, then the first 12 months to collect signature, and the next 12 months to actually find a buyer. It could potentially be 2 to 3 years. Then is it worth the wait, right? Otherwise, I might as well buy something else and then make money from it. As long as there is a substantial profit you want to go through the process so that you can reap the most out of your property, isn't it? So it only makes sense if you know the amount of profits that you're reaping through this en bloc process in order to wait out this period. So what happens if you find a buyer and you apply to strata titles board? What happens next? That is the biggest question that people will have. What if there is a minority owner who object to the sale? So by the last second 12 months, you need to apply to strata titles board. Strata titles board govern the entire sales process to the end. So if a minority objects to a sale, you could potentially go to the court to get an order of sale. And if the court approves the sale based on a few factors, that means it is a above board transaction, as well as there is a fair distribution of the sales proceeds, chances is the board will approve the sale. Of course, minority can also take it further to Court of Appeal if they want to challenge the authority, going forward. As long as everything is done above board, you follow the procedure legally under the lawyer's suggestions, proposal, and guidance by the lawyer as well as a consultant, there is a very, very high chance of succeeding the entire en bloc sales process. So it is important to appoint the right property consultant and the right legal consultant in order for a successful en bloc sales. Otherwise, it's a wasted effort of 2 to 3 years. So en bloc process is a very, very good chance to make good money. However, you just need to know the right information and follow the right guidance in order to make the money become a reality for yourself through en bloc sales. So in a broad framework, we give the legality as well as the timeline for en bloc sales. If you would like to learn more about all these legalities in further details, you can always drop your questions in the comments below so that we can adjust it and help you along in your journey. So far, in the last 3 episodes, we covered the evolution of the en bloc sales, the master planning in Singapore, as well as the legal framework guiding en bloc sales. In the next episode, we're going to cover something more interesting to you guys as property investor and how to identify, negotiate properties with at least 30% upside for en bloc sales properties. So if you like this content that we're sharing with you, do like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that you get more interesting content like this. And I'll see you in the next episode.